Hey, welcome to Tools on Tech. So, I'm in the process of selling my books. I'm gonna factory reset it after I record this because I'm not going to be using it, but I've only had it for 5 months, and I thought like talking about why I decided to stop use it after 5 months already would be interesting to people that are considering not only just the Air 3C, but any type of books tablet in general. Yeah, how to start with it. My initial idea when I got this was that it would replace my tablet and my e-reader, and it didn't really work out in the way that I was expecting it. Now, my tablet has like the main drawback that it's a tablet, and then when you write on it, it doesn't feel like writing. It didn't give a writing set of like if I'm making notes with it, like my pen was going all over the places. And in that regards, this device is absolutely wonderful. I mean, it feels like paper. I write on it like paper. But in practice, that was only like 5% of its usage. Now, a large set of its usage was to replace my e reader. And for that purpose, it's just too heavy. And that sounds like a nitpick thing, but if you're reading books for hours, if you're sitting in a chair or you're sitting in bed and you're trying to read, then having this less than easy to use device that is heavy that you can't put anywhere just doesn't make it a joy to use. So you're like constantly trying to find a way to lean it on your knee to elevate the weight from it. Holding it with one hand is almost a non-starter because then all the weight comes on one side, and that was like 80% of its actual usage. So yeah, that's the main reason I'm going to switch this out. Now I did want to talk a bit about the things that I did while I was using it to change it around to use it. One of the things that you might notice is that I'm holding it like upside down, according to a lot of people, but that's because I'm left-handed. And another thing that I have is like I have this strap on the top for the pen. And the reason is because if I was using it as a reading device and I was holding it like this, now I'm paying attention where I'm holding my hand. But if I wasn't, I was reading a book, then at some point this would like go loose or aside. It would distract me from the reading. So having this means that I could just, slide it away and then I could focus on the book I was reading until I would actually need the pen. So having the thing on the side, this is like a €2 sticker that you can put on it. So that wasn't a big thing to fix. Another thing is I got the Pro stylus, something I wouldn't recommend. I thought it was nice to have like the back to erase stuff. But in practice, flipping it around and erasing stuff takes a lot more effort than just tapping the eraser button, erasing it, and tapping the regular pen. And now, if this was like included in the box, it would have been nice. If it was like $10, then it would also be nice. But this is $50. Like the package deal goes up $50. It's not worth that. Don't do it. If you want to do that, get one of those dedicated pens like the Stedler for it, because that's a much better deal. So I wouldn't recommend it. I do hope that the person that buys it from me will enjoy it. And then my final nitpick was color. Now, initially I thought color would be nice, like highlighting and being able to read comics. But I don't really read a lot of comics. I read a lot of manga, and manga is mostly black and white with a couple of inserts that are color. And there it's really nice. But then color has drawbacks. Initially I thought, okay, what would be the drawback? It would be a bit more expensive. That wouldn't be the big problem. And I checked like the pixel density, and it showed like, hey, if you use color, you'll have half pixel density, but when you're using black and white pages, like I'm using most of the time, you'll get the full resolution. So, okay, that's not that bad. One of the things I did miss there was that if you use color, there's like a film in front of it that allows for that color. And that film means you need more backlight. It adds more weight, not much, but like a little. But mostly it's more backlight, and it makes the colors less crisp. And that means that you get like less crisp colors, and you need like this really bright light to get it to work, at least like when reading it. And I'm not talking like it's like blinding your eyes bright, but like, for example, when I would read on my Kobo device in bed in the evening and I would like slide it down, the room would still be like cozy. Even if I slide it all the way down, if I want to be able to read the text, it still lights up the whole room. It's like using one of my studio lights while I'm reading. That doesn't really get me in that, oh, I'm cozy reading in the evening kind of feel. And that's a drawback that color has in combination with the big screen. I'm sure that if I get like a smaller screen, it will be less pronounced. But that was one of the things that I did notice. And then the benefits for color, like being able to highlight stuff. Sure, it's nice that I can highlight stuff, but in practice, I usually would just underline stuff with 2 lines because that would be quicker than going to highlight. So I didn't use color as much. So if you're considering if you're getting color or not, I think that the only real reason, if you do highlighting a lot right now, sure, go for it. If you do a lot of comic book reading, like American comics with a lot of color in it, go for it. If you're going like, oh, it would be a nice extra. If you don't have to, don't, because it's the technology that it uses by definition, comes with drawbacks, and that trade-off just wasn't worth it for me. Now, that said, I'm going to keep it short, but there's a couple of things that I think I really love about this device, and I think that if you're considering this type of device, is one of the reasons go for books. Having Android on this, being able to make notes and immediately like share them through MS Teams towards my team is super useful. That means that I can do it while I'm still in the meeting. Another thing that I really like is that it allows you to upload your notes as PDFs to your own cloud provider, meaning that if I make notes on this, the moment I close the note, it will generate the PDF and it will upload it to my own cloud. So I don't even have to use one of the big cloud providers like Google or Microsoft for it. It will be my own cloud. So if you're like, it sounds weird, but like more privacy conscious, you don't want to send all your documents to every cloud provider. You don't need to log in with a Boox account and sync to that. You can just let the device send it towards your own cloud setup, which I really loved. And it's also one of the reasons why I can now sell it without issues, because I'm going to factory reset it, wipe it clean, and I'll know that I can get to all my notes that I made on this by just going to my cloud storage and looking at the PDFs, which is a godsend for a device like this. So there's a lot of things to love about Boox devices. I am not knocking it. I'm just saying that after using it, if you're the type of person that's going to do mostly reading on a device, I would highly recommend getting a smaller device. If you do a lot of writing, then this bigger device is definitely the way to go, because I loved writing on this thing. I just didn't have a lot of times when I needed to do it, or a lot of times when I did need to make notes. I had like a full laptop in arm's reach, and that would just be way faster, resulting in this thing getting less and less usage. And the nail in the coffin was my last holiday. I brought it along and I basically was reading books on my phone because it was way more comfortable when I was sitting like on a couch to read with my phone, even though I had to flip a lot of pages, but the volume buttons helped a lot. I really like buttons. Is one of the reasons why I got this one from Kobo back in the day, because the buttons that are here means that I can just hold it with one hand, I can read, and I can just tap, tap, tap while I'm going for pages. I really miss that on the books, considering the fact that they have this nice large bezel here. It would have been nice if there would have been like some type of button here. Now you have to swipe and it doesn't always work the way you would like it. And of course, like I flipped it around because I'm left-handed, but I'm also glad that you can do it. So it's a nice device. I'm not saying that it's a bad device, but it was a bad device for me, and that's why I wanted to make this short video. I hope it was informative to you. Remember, you're awesome. Keep it up.